right, Kamish. Good to see you here again for Mountain West Media Days. And one of the things I found interesting, we've listened to all the commissioners that are here in Vegas because there are multiple media days here. You have one commissioner who's hyped and maybe overhyping. Maybe we're trying to sell ourselves too much. You have another commissioner who's basically saying we're here to drink. And we've got you, who has been as calm and steady as anybody I've seen here throughout the country. Are you feeling calm and steady right now, though?
When I started the job, definitely not. But honestly, after about a year and a half, I couldn't be more pleased with the position the Mountain West is in. And certainly it could all change tomorrow because change is our new normal. But the football that we are looking forward to this fall, I really, truly believe is going to be incredible.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe she's already had her drink. That's why you are where you're at.
If you're considering the 4 gallons of coffee, then yes, I've had my drink.
If we could get into the nuts and bolts, obviously there are some problems with what Hawaii has dealt with, and it's not necessarily the school's fault or Craig Angelus's fault. Definitely not Timmy Chang's fault, who has was kind of brought into a situation that was not ideal. The current state is Hawaii is dealing with a stadium problem, a place to play. Your thoughts on what Hawaii has to deal with right now?
Yeah, and you're right. It's a problem, and every school has different challenges every year, and that one's at the forefront for the administration at Hawaii. And, we talk globally with all of our schools that, in this time of change, there is a gap between us and the Autonomous Four. But we're not trying to jump that gap, but we've got to remain competitive. We've got to continue to benchmark ourselves against our peers, and our goal is to be the top 5, fifth best, whatever, however you want to say it, conference in the FBS. Because in this new expanded playoff, there are 9 FBS leagues. The top 5 champions get an AQ. The other 7 spots are selected at large.
Okay, so your thoughts then on where Hawaii stands with the rest of the conference, because while there's a gap between the Mountain West and the top 4, there's a gap between Hawaii and its own conference.
And I think it's something that when you have a healthy conference environment, whether you're high or low in any given year, all boats should rise with the tide. And that's the point of conference play. So it's really incumbent upon us as a collective not to allow folks get too far away from center. And so that is the efforts and the conversations we're having. It's imperative that if our top teams play our bottom teams, they don't take a step backwards.
Got it. That is a great way of putting it, by the way.
Yeah, and one of the topics of conversation yesterday was around the conference's, I think, minimum standards or that have been kind of put in place. How do you feel, to kind of piggyback on what John asked, about where everybody is in meeting those standards, not just from a stadium perspective, which we've been talking about with Hawaii, but also budgets and spending and being up to par? How do you feel about where everybody is there?
Well, the challenge in that is it's apples to oranges to pears to bananas. No 2 schools can be painted with the same brush. So what we're attempting to do is benchmark all those categories of spending that directly impact competitive success and try to figure out every school is different. Some have facilities that they have to lean into. Others have maybe operational budgets or, you name it, all the different verticals that happen in an athletic department. And how can we best provide that information to our schools so each can make informed, database decisions based on their local issues.
With those things being said, and with there's no real minimum to attendance in a stadium, what do you want to see from Hawaii? And is there a timeline in which you give Hawaii to rise their standards, to come up to the rest of the boats, so to speak?
Yeah, and you've mentioned a couple of things. I certainly am not in the know about the operational budgets and challenges for every school. Certainly the facility needs to come to fruition, get solved, and I know folks are working on that. I don't know what the other issues are under each campus, but I do know we have to continue to solve our, issues, places that we're behind in order to keep moving forward. We cannot be complacent.
We're talking with Gloria Nevarez, Mountain West Commissioner here on ESPN Honolulu. Access to the conference. You talked about yesterday the deal with TNT Sports. On the radio side, you got a Mountain West package of Friday night games. Our friends at Gridiron Radio, you're actually going to have Eli Gold, the voice of Alabama previously, who's going to be doing a lot of those games. The Mountain West, maybe more than ever, having the ability for people to access these games via the radio, via television. That's exciting.
It's really, really unique as well. I don't know that many people understand. We are in current media rights contracts. It's not like anything expired. This new partnership with TNT came up in the middle of our cycle for our additional inventory on a national linear platform, and we're going to be streaming on Max. It's just incredible. And, you know, TNT hasn't been in the college football space since 2006. We're honored to be the group that brings them back into the space, but also there's a really cool synergy because they're also picking up expanded CFP playoff games. I'm going to speak this into existence. So when we get a team in the CFP, who's going to know us better than TNT?
There you go.
Yeah, ESPN's producing those games, which is kind of cool. Washington State and Oregon State is the other topic of conversation with scheduling. I know that's something that you can't really speak to just because the conversations are still ongoing. In a perfect world, and I'll basically ask you to speculate, would you love to see them as a full-fledged member of this conference? Are you happy with the scheduling agreement? How would you ultimately love to see this play out?
You know, it changes day by day, and not just on the Washington State, Oregon State. We're talking about change in the environment. And you say something one day, and then a week later things happen, and it no longer holds true, or you have to change your position. So really, the way I'm looking at all these things, one, really thrilled about the scheduling agreement. I think Washington State and Oregon State are bringing a tremendous strength of schedule to our league. And to that end, we are playing more A4 teams than the next closest league by about 10, 11, or 12. I forget the numbers. That's a considerable elevation in strength of schedule compared to our peers. But also, I think we are going to continue to analyze our opportunities. Ones that make us stronger, we're going to lean into and chase down. Ones that are risks or might take us backwards, we're working hard to be proactive, bolster our strength, and stay away from anything that might take us backwards.
With those two, you also expand to the CW because all the Mountain West games that will play against those two teams will be on the CW.
Yes, another great opportunity for our student athletes to be featured on national linear TV.
That's 3 network television. In a way, this is kind of a partner, but that's that's fun. Naming rights. I know that's something you talked about yesterday, and it seems like conferences are looking into it in a number of different fronts. Is there a balance between, all right, we're going to get some revenue, we're putting this name on our conference, the X Mountain West Conference, for example, and is there a point where it could compromise maybe the way the conference is viewed? Where's the balance there? Is there a balance when you look at the revenue versus kind of optics side?
That question actually hits at the heart of the issue. We have told our media rights holders, the folks that go to market for us and bring in sponsorship, that we are open to a total conference naming partner, but it has to be the right fit. You heard me talk yesterday a lot about staying true to who we are, our core mission and values, educating young people through sport in the academy to be leaders in our community. And we would really have to have a lot of synergy and find the right partner, but we would be open to having that conversation.
Commissioner, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you both.